Meet me in the foyer.
It's time to assemble again for our regular group therapy session as I ask you once more to meet me in the foyer. And this week, escape, astrology, and murder are the themes of the show. So take a break, escape with us into the cinema, and of course, we'll also bring you the box office top 10 and the movie news too. And joining me to herd all the reviews and news into the foyer is Chief Zookeeper and critic Linda Marek. How are you doing, Linda?
I'm very well. I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to change something there because I'm not reviewing Zootropolis, am I?
No, but there is an animal theme in my review, so it's
Oh, cool.
good.
Cool. All right. Okay. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. I'm doing really well. Very busy, tired, and I had a day full of review of screenings today. But yeah, all good. All good. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. I'm going to leave that in because we're letting the viewers in behind the wizard's curtain. As yes, some last minute changes of plan as to what we're going to bring you this week, but all for the better, I think.
I also have a moan, if I can do that.
Of course, you can.
At the beginning, after you've done the news, I'd like to do a little bit of a moan, just a general moan, and
Is it about the?
It's about Wicked for Good.
Oh, okay, it's not about the quality of the hosting of this radio show, is it?
It's silly.
So, after our late reshuffle, what are you bringing us this week, Linda?
This week, I'm going to be reviewing the Richard Linklater's movie Blue Moon, a really fabulous performance by Ethan Hawke, and one of two films by Richard Linklater this year. The second one being Nouvelle Vague, which it takes place in basically is the telling of the story of filming of Abu Dussouf, Breathless.
Oh wow.
Fantastic movie, so well done, so brilliantly done. That's coming out either at the end of this year or beginning of next year. I can't remember. My second film is Knives Out. Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery.
Excellent. Very exciting. May I ask you a question then? Do you agree? I just went straight into it there. I asked if I could, and I didn't even wait for the answer. Sorry. How rude. Do you agree with a certain other critic that perhaps the remake of Breathless is better than the original?
No, I don't agree.
No. Good. Well,
I'm like an avid fan of French cinema, an avid fan of Breathless, and no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, they're both really good movies.
Yes.
But the original is obviously better.
Absolutely correct answer, Linda. Keep your seat. So why don't we start before the reviews, though, let's warm up with the box office top 10.
Meet me in the foyer.
The box office top 10, as it stands this week, it's very similar to last week, which, from my memory of working in the cinema, this is a pretty quiet time often in the actual foyers and the box offices, unless you've got a big sort of Bond film coming out, or perhaps a third part of a murder mystery franchise. So things might pick up. But as we stand at the moment, at 10, Begonia keeps its place in the top 10 for a fourth week, which is great. It's nearly up to 3 million taken at the box office, which is also excellent. Above that, at 9, a film which I hope won't be in the top 10 next week, just because I struggle to pronounce its name, Jujutsu Kaisen Execution, which I think we established last week is some kind of manga thing. Above that, which I haven't seen yet, but will certainly play a crucial part in my Christmas viewing, it's Paw Patrol Christmas in its third week on the chart, which has now made £768,000. And above that, another Christmas film. It's Christmas Karma in its second week on the chart. It's up to nearly 1 million.
It's in the top 10. It's doing well. I mean, 1 million is not nothing.
No, absolutely not. And I'm really intrigued to see whether Boy George can actually I want to see his acting chops. That's what I
He
want.
doesn't really do much acting, to be honest with you.
No, just plays Boy George.
Yeah. Well, no, he doesn't. He hardly appears in it, and the bits that he appears in is where he's singing. So.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so.
Could he be singing Karma Chameleon by any chance?
I will leave that for you and for the listenership to discover for themselves.
If it is Karma Chameleon, I hope they've Christmased it up with a few jingle bells on it and something like that. Above that, it's The Choral. It's third week on the charts, 3.3 million. Nice take. The Ralph Fiennes movie, which we're not too sure about, but...
yeah, I wasn't a fan.
Fair enough. Above that, a film I think you did like, or at least the performances. It's Nuremberg.
Yeah, I wasn't like greatly impressed by the tone of it, but I thought the performances were brilliant.
Oh, you can't beat a bit of Rami Malek any time. Now some shocks, because at number 3, reviewed by Linda on a previous show, it's made 3.7 million, but it only took 600,000 this week. It's The Running Man. Dare I say, flop?
I don't know. We'll see.
No, I don't wish it upon it, but
yeah, it will do well once it goes to streaming, I think.
Yes, yeah, that's a good call. Which means above it, much to Linda's chagrin, it's Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
I am appalled. I am appalled at you guys who went to see it.
I think Linda's gonna have 2 moans this week.
Well, you can't say I didn't warn you.
Because that's taken 4.3 million and 1.1 million alone this week. So yeah, it's doing pretty well, shockingly. But that does mean, as predicted by Linda on last week's show, and you'll find her review of it on that same episode, it's John M. Chu's Wicked for Good, starring Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, Jonathan Bailey, and Jeff Goldblum.
Haven't you heard? I'm the Wicked Witch of the West.
No good deeds, thousand I couldn't be happier.
Somehow I've fallen under your spell.
Seems like I'm forever.
You're the only friend I ever had.
And I've had so many friends. But only one that mattered. I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason.
They need someone to be wicked.
Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun.
So that you can be good.
Like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant world. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed for good. Think of what we can do together. There's no place like home.
How much did that take first week?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Oh,
I
so
just
sorry.
realised I didn't write it down.
Sorry about that.
No, it's my fault. It's my fault. I always do write it down, and I didn't write it down this week.
I'm just intrigued about how much it's going to do and what the difference is going to be from this week to next week, because I have a sneaking suspicion that it will still be number 1 next week.
Wow.
And Knives Out might be number 2.
It's weekend, right? So bearing in mind the number 2 film, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Now, that was its second week, but it took 1.1 million, which means it took 3 million the week before. Wicked for Good took 18.8 million.
I knew it.
Holy moly. That's...
Yeah.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah.
I think that'll... Sorry, I didn't catch what you said there. I was still typing away, looking...
No, I knew it was going to do really well. I just know that it's going to make its money back. I mean, there's a reason why people like it. You know, the songs are very popular, and there's also a reason why they made it into two movies. You know,
Yes.
they're not stupid.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's the box office, rather interesting box office top 10 for this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right. So time for Linda's first review, and I watch a lot of films, and Linda many, many more. So often films can blur and blend into a melange of mediocrity, but every once in a while something really great comes along. So time for Linda to review a new film for us, and is this one of those occasions? Is this Once in a Blue Moon?
I need a drink.
Big smile.
We write together for a quarter of a century, and the first show he writes with someone else is gonna be the biggest hit he ever had. Am I bitter?
Larry.
Yes.
For over 20 years, Hart and his partner Richard Rodgers created a string of hits,
I want 10 copies of that.
Write me a check.
such as My Funny Valentine, The Lady is a Tramp, and Blue Moon.
Your work is brilliant. That's not the problem.
No, I'm not drinking with you, Larry. They should put my picture on that bottle. The whiskey that made Loren's heart unemployable. I think we should be dreaming about new Rodgers and Hart, something people haven't seen before, something big.
We have to work like professionals, Larry. It's a business. That's all.
Elizabeth, I adore this girl.
You're going to introduce me to Richard Rodgers, right?
She's a girl. See, I always thought that your interests went more towards...
My interests. So now you're going to analyze me? Thank you, Dr. Bacardi.
What do you think she sees in him? I think she recognizes she's being adored by one of the great appreciators of beauty.
There's no way around that one, is there? When the girl loves the guy with all of her heart and he just doesn't return her feeling? Do you have any idea what that feels like?
Nobody ever loved me that much.
It's really striking. Are you and she...
Oh, no. I mean, I'm in love with her. But everybody's in love with her.
Blue moon. You saw me standing alone
Wise guy.
without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own.
I'm a massive fan of Richard Linklater, and I'm an even bigger fan of Ethan Hawke. I've been a fan of Ethan Hawke since I was probably in my teens, since I watched Dead Poet Society, and he was so I am like literally a lifelong Ethan Hawke fan, and I think he can do no wrong. I have never ever seen him put in a performance that is lesser than his talent. I will forever say this: whenever he is in a movie, he is the best thing in it. And even if the movie is terrible, he still remains the best thing in that movie. He still remains as brilliant as ever. He's had this kind of working relationship with Richard Linklater for years now, and they've worked on some really wonderful movies. And this one is a actually very unexpected for me for Linklater. I love Linklater, do you know, because I think he's been very brave in overtaking some projects that are very unexpected in a way, what their subject matter is, but not just that. He's very good at being innovative with the way of filmmaking. You know, when you go back to films like Boyhood, that he took 10 years to make, and followed, nobody else would make movies like that. And that's why I'm so interested in anything he comes up with. I have to say, this is absolutely beautiful. The story is, before there was Rodgers and Hammerstein, there was Hart and Rodgers, who were music songwriters who wrote some of the most beautiful music American songs of all time, Blue Moon being one of them. But you know, he like if you look up their name, you'll see how many like songs you actually remember. So the story is inspired by letters between Lawrence Hart, who is one half of the Rogers and Hart, and sort of letters of between him and Elizabeth Wheeland, this kind of it girl of the time, and he was very much in love with her, even though he was like a very well known to be sort of gay and in relationships with men, but he also was completely enamored by the way she conducted herself, the way she looked. She was, I suspect that he more likely wanted to be her rather than be with her. But yeah, so the story, it all takes place in one bar, in one quite high up, like a really nice bar in the middle of Manhattan, in the middle of Broadway. After the very first outing of Oklahoma, the musical, the Roger and Hammerstein musical. So Lawrence is on the way out. He's an alcoholic. He's been shunned by pretty much everyone in the industry, including Rogers, who was his, childhood friend with whom he wrote so many beautiful songs. But because he's impossible to work with, because of his addiction to drinking, he's been basically shunned by everyone. But he's been invited to this after party, and whilst waiting for everyone to get there, he's entertaining everyone around him. There's a really fantastic performance by Bobby Cannavale, who plays Eddie, the bartender of the bar, who has known Lawrence Hart for many years and who's been, regaled by many a story. Andrew Scott plays Richard Rogers. As I said, Ethan Hawke plays Lawrence Hart, and he is unrecognizable, genuinely. Like if you Google a photo of Lawrence Hart and you put Ethan Hawke next to it, you can't believe that the two could even, be in any way compared. The stature is different, the face is different. I mean, Ethan Hawke is a very handsome man, so and well, I don't think the same can be said about Lawrence Hart. This is a really wonderful piece. It feels very much like a play, a theatre play, but at the same time it also feels like almost like a series of tableaus, and there are conversations, like long conversations where he is at the center of them. He's in every single scene, it's from his point of view, and he's in every single scene. He's got a lot of dialogue, and I admire any actor who is able to take on that much dialogue, and he is just incredible. I genuinely, as much as I say, I mean, I saw Marty Supreme last weekend just gone, and I thought Timothée Chalamet was absolutely brilliant, well deserving of an Oscar nomination and possibly of winning an Oscar. Personally, I would like to see Ethan Hawke win the Oscar here, because it is single-handedly the very best performance I've ever seen from him. It's a very sad story as well, but it's funny as well, and it just goes to, he's got he had such a wayward words, and the representation of that, what that would look like in a conversation with a bunch of people at that time, it's just so well done. Extremely impressed by it. The screenplay is by Robert Kaplow, and Linklater's direction, as ever, is just really on point. It's seamless. Like I said, it's a very sad film, but at the same time, it's so well done, and you just can't help but stay glued to your seat watching this. Yeah, really love this.
Fantastic. No, I've been really intrigued to see this since I don't know, a few months ago. I saw the trailer, and oh, that's right. It was of course, it was at the film festival, the London Film Festival, wasn't it? So I saw it in the build up to that, and yeah, absolutely, really looking forward to this. It looks great. The cast is fantastic. You know, that four of Margaret Qualley and Hawke and Cannavale, that's just absolutely marvelous.
AndrewScott is great in everything. He is particularly good in this. Simon Delaney plays Oscar Hammerstein, and not a very likable character in this movie. I don't know what he was like in real life, but I thought it was quite an interesting that they have him represented in that way. But yeah, really fabulous. And Margaret Qualley, I mean, we know.
Yes.
She can do no wrong.
I need to watch more Richard Linklater films. I was just looking at his filmography. He's got some really fascinating. School of Rock. That's amazing. That's in his history. That doesn't seem to fit with all of the other films, but Scanner Darkly and Me and Orson Welles, marvelous. It's odd actually looking at Hawke's filmography whilst you were talking. Oh, not that I wasn't paying attention. He's not. He's a big name, you know. He's just a name that everyone knows, but he doesn't, unless I'm being completely ridiculous, seem to have any huge films, if you know what I mean.
He's never been a mainstream movie star, and that I think that's what he's always wanted to be known as, a character actor. He's always been a character actor. He's never been in like huge. Like he's never been in a Marvel movie, for example. He's never been in a Star Wars movie. He's never been in any of those kind of movies that loads of these great actors kind of are tempted away from serious cinema to do. I think he genuinely is not interested in any of those kind of genres, and he just loves doing the screenplays that he wants to do rather than go where the money is, and that has to be respected.
Absolutely, some really interesting entries on his. I mean, a little role in The Guilty with a few years ago, and
Gattaca. He was in Gattaca.
Gattaca, of course, yes, and The Northman, which was a great film, absolutely brilliant. And of course, he's in a film which links to your next review in the show. So yeah, fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Linda. That was great. So what do we do now? We go to the news. So what's in the news? Oh, sorry, you wanted to
Oh yes, I've got a little bit of a moan. We've been having these the Wicked for Good press tour. And there's been, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande have been doing all these interviews and blah, blah, blah. And all I've been hearing is people moaning about them, how because they are so lovely to each other, because they're so earnest, and because they're so loving towards each other and so caring towards each other and just basically being lovies. Oh, I can't. People on the internet, I can't stand this. Then don't watch. I just, there's just such a nothing burger. Like, I don't actually understand what the problem is. If I hear one more person moan about this, I'm just going to blow a gasket because I've had enough. They're doing their job, and they got on really well in the making of this movie, and they became friends. Absolutely nothing wrong with trying to be. I think. Don't forget, they're both Broadway people, Ariana Grande grew up in Broadway, grew up with her whole sort of entourage and family involved in Broadway. Cynthia Erivo is just incredible. She's just, she's been in so many musicals, and she's just a fabulous actress, singer. I mean, have you heard her sing?
Yes, I heard her sing at the Oscars last year. Yeah,
it's just wonderful, and you don't expect people like that to be just your normies, they're lovies, you know. It's
yes.
okay. It's fine. It's fine to be that kind of a person, and maybe they are being serious. Maybe they're being honest about their feelings.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they do, as you say, lovies is quite a good term. They do seem to be lovey up to 11, but
It's
but yeah,
fine.
yeah.
In what way is this offensive to anyone?
No, no. I mean, it's weirdly sort of starting sort of internet conspiracy rumors and all sorts. Is the one I saw yesterday? Is Ariana Grande secretly dying or something like that? And it's
God.
crazy stuff. But that's the internet for you. Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Well, that's Linda's just hopped off her soapbox for this week, and that's fine. That's what we're here for. Always a little corner in Meet Me in the Foyer to get something off your chest. I'm sure I'll be ranting about many things in the coming weeks.
Meet me in the foyer.
So, yes, let's head in off to the news desk. And what's the first item this week? First item is we have a trailer for Kristen Stewart's directorial debut, The Chronology of Water, due to ride a wave of publicity into cinemas in February of 2026.
Thought about starting at the beginning.
Oh, get her, Mike! Get her, Mike!
But that's not how I remember it. But that's not how I remember it. It's all a series of fragments.
Keep your head up.
Repetitions.
Smiley face.
Patterns. Formations. There are moments.
Look at me.
Between years.
Look at me.
That surface with great force.
What?
No one is big enough to hold what happens to us.
No one's big enough to hold what happens to us.
It's in your hands.
People say to me all the time, did the things in your stories actually happen? I don't know. Memories are stories. So you better come up with one you can live with.
Very intrigued to see that. Another directorial. Is it me, or are more actors than ever before becoming directors these days? It's, I've no numbers to back that up, but it just seems that more are doing it, and it just seems interesting and cool. Definitely intrigued to see what she does. And another female director, Maggie Gyllenhaal, writer-director of The Bride, starring Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale, says the film will let monsters be monsters in these.
She has directed another film a few years ago about this. I fuck to remember what it's called. You're gonna have to look it up. So it's not her first movie, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and she is a really fantastic director.
The Lost Daughter. Is that the one? The Lost Daughter?
The Lost Daughter, yeah.
Yeah, from 2021.
Yeah.
With Olivia Colman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remembered that. I didn't realise that was Maggie Gyllenhaal. Yeah, that was a good film, wasn't it?
Just another movie before that.
Oh, now you're asking.
Pretty sure. Or am I wrong? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Whilst we're here, she's produced a few. No, I think that was her directorial debut.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that was good. I recommend. Yeah, it was her directorial debut. Well, she's clearly a very talented lady.
Yeah.
So The Bride is The Bride of Frankenstein story transplanted to 1930s Chicago, where you can witness them doing terrible things in March 2026. We have a trailer for the Long Walk director Francis Lawrence's new project, The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping.
Welcome, Panem, to the glorious reaping of District 12.
Twice the number of tributes. Twice the glory. It's time for the second quarter quell. Let the 50th Hunger Games begin!
I think these games are going to be different.
But The Reaping won't begin for a year, as it's not due in cinemas until November of 2026. So they're playing the long game on that one. Director Dave Green says that his upcoming film Coyote vs. Acme, which was dumped by Warner Bros. In 2023 for a tax break, but is finally coming to cinemas in 2026, will show us what makes Wile E. Coyote tick, as we want to get into his soul, apparently.
Things nobody asked for.
Exactly. Apparently it's another one of those modern films. I sound like an old man. One of those modern films, which it's a blend of live action and animation.
I see. Okay.
You see more of these days.
Yeah. Who Framed Roger Rabbit style.
Exactly. Yeah. And what was that? What was the other one? Space Jam, wasn't it?
Space Jam. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What else do we have? We have a trailer for The Moment, a meta movie about a pop star in the music industry, starring pop star in the music industry Charlie XCX, which is due out sometime in 2026.
Charlie. Wait, don't. Oh, no, it's fine. They're with me, so. Oh, okay. We're deleting this? Yes. Delete it.
How does it feel to have claimed a whole summer? How many people can say that they've done that?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of happens. Is it weird when I do that?
No, I like it.
You sure?
Yeah.
I've built this tour up to be this massive thing.
Run it from the top. Is it kind of painful? When I felt like people started to care about me.
You saved my life, and I drew this picture of me.
Oh, thanks. Nothing else matters. They're not gonna die after an album cycle. I might. Nothing was more important than Brad. It was a fucking disaster.
Sorry.
Is that me?
That's supposed to be you, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at you there. Oh, look how different you look there.
Yeah, that's me.
Who's directing that? Don't know.
Oh, you've always got questions, Linda, and I don't
sorry,
have the answers.
because you usually tell me.
I know.
You usually say. That's why I asked.
That is a perfectly reasonable question, and I have failed once again in my research. It is directed by Aidan Zamiri.
Oh,
there we
no
go.
idea who that is. Sorry.
A Scottish photographer and filmmaker. There we go. And lastly, this week, German actor Udo Kirsper has died. He worked with directors such as Gus Van Sant, Werner Herzog, Dario Argento, Alexander Payne, and Barry Sonnenfeld, just to name a few, and appeared in such films as The Salzburg Connection, Suspiria, Moscow on the Hudson with Robin Williams, My Own Private Idaho with Keanu Reeves, For Love or Money, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, Johnny Mnemonic, Barbed Wire, Armageddon, Blade, of course, where he was brilliant, Shadow of the Vampire, where again he was brilliant, and Downsizing, and many, 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 many more. But I just picked the ones that I've actually seen.
Downsizing, a very weird movie that everyone hated and that I actually quite liked.
Yay! So did I. I really liked Downsizing. I mean, it gets really weird, as you say, when they head off to that Scandinavian camp. But yeah, I thought it was really. I mean, I felt like everyone didn't realize it was a sort of satire and comedy.
Yeah. I think they did, but they just didn't want to go with it. Maybe it was too early. I just thought it was really fabulous, to be honest.
I'm right with you there, right with you. And that's the end of the news this week. So we put Linda to work again now with her next review.
Meet me in the foyer.
Now, I'm sure you're paying full attention and haven't drifted off, but if so, now it's time to wake up, dead man, for a new Rian Johnson Knives Out mystery.
You're the only one on stage with the Monsignor at the time of his killing. You're the only one at that church who hated his guts.
The spirit really moved him today, huh?
So tell me, what the hell happened?
Everyone thinks I did it. I didn't do it.
This goes way beyond normal police work. This is something you and I have not experienced. A perfectly impossible crime.
This case is solvable, right?
Well, I'm incapable of not solving a crime. Oh, you'll see. It's fun.
Wicks had a vast family fortune.
If made public, can ruin people.
God forbid.
It is time to discover what this flock of wicked wolves is hiding.
There's some Scooby-Doo shit going on here.
Scooby-Doo. With all the pieces on the table, this crime appears impossible.
Makes me sick. These kids painting rocket ships all over his sacred resting place.
So will this be another sequel success, or will the critics be getting their knives out? Let's find out. Linda?
So this is the third standalone, the second standalone sequel after Glass Onion, which was the second one of the Knives Out movies. And I'm so happy that we are getting these movies because they feel like really old-fashioned cast movies, you know what I mean? They feel like those old Agatha Christie adaptations from the 80s where you get Peter Ustinov, those movies, family movies. And there's a reason why these are being released around Christmas time, because I believe this one comes out this week in cinemas. It will be in cinemas for a couple of weeks. I don't know how long, and then it will go into Netflix on Christmas Day, if I'm not mistaken, or Boxing Day, I can't remember. So I am very happy that this is happening and that someone like RianJohnson has reinvented the family mystery thriller. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's done it with such class. And the cast in this one is just incredible. I have to say. So the premise is you've got Detective Benoit Blanc, played by Daniel Craig again, who actually in this one takes a bit of a sidestep. He's not the main the focus of the story. And I think it's a really good idea to only have him as a side player in this. I mean, he does come on and helps the main character get out of a really tricky spot, but at the same time, he's not the main star of the story, which is really good. I in my opinion, I think it's quite clever to move him from that. So yeah, the story is Benoit Blanc takes on a new case, and so he sort of steps in to help a Catholic priest, a troubled Catholic priest played by JoshOConnor, whose name is Reverend Judd Duplessis. Really weird name. Yeah, and so after one too many sort of fights at priest school, basically, he's been sent off to this church in the middle of nowhere, and his new boss is the Monsignor, and he's someone who is not to be trusted, really. He's played by JoshBrolin. Jeff Shenwick's a charismatic Monsignor who's a domineering priest who serves a congregation of people who are all quite, well-moneyed people who he's spent. Basically, he's created a cult around his personality, and all these people are just like at his feet. What happens is one evening, actually, I don't know whether I should say what the premise is exactly, but I think it's best that I don't tell you anything. Because it's better to discover it for yourself. It's really, really, it looks very gothy. It's very gothic in a way. So the cinematography is absolutely fantastic. Once again, it's by Steve Yedlin, and I'll tell you who else is in the movie. GlennClose plays Martha Delacroix, who's a devout church lady, and she looks after the Josh Brolin character. MilaKunis plays local police chief. Completely wasted on this role, unfortunately. I like MilaKunis a lot, but I just felt that the role did not suit her at all. I would have preferred to see her in something a bit meatier, and she just comes on and just leaves again. JeremyRenner plays Nat Sharp, the town doctor, who is also an alcoholic and again another troubled person. KerryWashington, another person who is completely wasted on the role. Really funny. Like she comes on smoking these cigarettes, and she's like looking very cool and stuff, but then she disappears, and you keep thinking, well, why is her character even here? This character doesn't do anything. I mean, I sound like I really did not like the movie. I really loved this movie, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this movie, and it's difficult when you have such a huge list of people. It's very, very hard to give every one of them the role they deserve, and it's fine. It's fine if it's not. I think people just want to work with Rian Johnson, and they're happy with whatever role is given to them. And it's quite a long movie as well. It's over 2 hours long. AndrewScott, Lee Ross, he's a best-selling author who basically has turned a bit sort of right-wing. Who else? Darren McCormack, who I really, really liked in Good Luck to You, Leo Grant. He's an aspiring politician, and he's at the heart of the story. All in all, I'm really happy that this is the very first. Actually, I've not really seen JoshOConnor in a super mainstream, like Christmas movie, as it were, and it was really good to see him being able to play comedy as well as he does drama. And I'm like a huge fan of his performances and anything. And I think what made it even better is that RianJohnson has decided to focus the whole story on him, and it really pays off. And I just think I think even if Benoit Blanc is not in these movies in the future, and I don't know if Daniel Craig wants to carry on doing these movies, even if he's not in them, I think they are still able to be really good films with good mystery in the middle of them, and some absolutely fantastic performances all around. Yeah, I'm Joseph Gordon-Levitt is also in this. Like as I say, just Jeffrey Wright is in this. He's not in it for that long. There are some really fabulous performances. I just wish, I think I could have done with less characters, and then with where actors would have been given sort of more to work with. But as I say, they're probably like when you're told or you asked by RianJohnson to be in a Knives Out movie, you just say no, or you just say yes, and think about the role afterwards. So yeah, all in all, I've watched this quite a few weeks ago, and I watched it I was invited to the premiere for the London Film Festival, and this was the opening film. And I thought it was really fun. Really liked it, and I reviewed it, and I gave it 5 stars. Now, actually thinking about it, I don't know, is it a 5-star movie? I still think I would have given it 5 stars, even if I'd seen it now. Mostly because I wasn't bored for 1 second. I thought it looked great. I thought the performances were great, and whatever misgivings I might have about the sort of some of the characters, they really don't matter. It's still a really good film. It's still a fun film. It's still a film that the whole family could watch together. I really liked it. Yeah.
Fantastic. No, I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah, I mean, that first one just blew me, and I think everyone away. Established it as a brand almost immediately. It was so good, and that's such a good point. They are so like those Agatha Christie adaptations, The Evil Under the Sun, The Mirror Cracked. All of those brilliant ensemble cast. Oh, it's that person. Oh, look, there's another. But yeah, fantastic.
We did a special ensemble cast episode last year.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
and it was like we all agreed that ensemble casts is the way forward. Especially, I just wish this movie, and I'm gonna bore everyone again. I don't know how long this is going to be in cinemas for. I'm hoping it's more than 2 weeks. I have a feeling it's going to be more than 2 weeks. I just wish Netflix would just do. Obviously, they want this to be seen by everyone, but just let it live in the cinema for a bit before sticking it on thing. And while we were talking about box office, I really don't know if this is going to beat Wicked for Good. I think people are still going to be going to see Wicked for Good next weekend. That's my feeling.
I think you're right. I think that's probably true. But if this it's a little bit early, but if it can cling on till Christmas and people are on holiday and they want to go to the cinema or over the break, then it could really do some good numbers.
Because I remember the last one actually was released on Christmas Day, if you remember, the Glass Onion. That was released on Christmas Day. Or am I wrong? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
No, you're spot on. That was released December 23rd onto Netflix. So yeah, a nice Christmas treat for us all to look forward to, I think.
Watch it again because I really liked it.
No, yeah, I mean, I've just realised I can now watch 1 and 2 again. I definitely need to watch 2 again because I wasn't
Yeah.
totally sold on it the first time I watched it.
You're not the only one, to be honest, but I watched it the second time and I got way more stuff out of it than the first one. But personally, I prefer the second one to the first one, but that's
Oh,
just
okay.
me.
Okay. Well, I think half the problem with the second one was it was so clever
Yeah.
that there were clues going on that I thought were errors, and those were the clues. And I was just, yeah, it was, yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely having a rewatch this week. Fantastic. Brilliant. Right. Well, bad news. It's now my turn for a film review.
Meet me in the foyer.
So it's time for another of Jawa's classic movie moments. And this week I bring you my second Miloš Forman review. And who knows, I may even do a third in a few years' time when we hit 2029. But let's stay in the now, or should I say in 1975, as that is the year when this week's classic movie flew the nest to go on and become one of the most heralded films of all time, as I will be showing my ornithological expertise as I get my binoculars out and study One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Why do you think they might think that?
Don't make a bit of sense to me.
Do you think there's anything wrong with your mind, really?
Not a thing, Doc.
Excuse me, miss. Do you think it might be possible to turn that music down so maybe a couple of the boys could talk?
Your hand is staining my window.
God almighty, she's got you guys coming or going. A little change never hurt, huh? A little variety.
Oh, come on. You're not gonna say that now. You're not gonna say that now. You're gonna pull that henhouse shit now. And the vote, the chief just voted it was 10-9. Now, I want that television set turned on right now.
I don't think he's overly psychotic.
No, I want something done.
I think he's dangerous.
Jesus, I mean, you guys do nothing but complain about how you can't stand it in this place here, and then you haven't got the guts just to walk out. I mean, what do you think you are, for Christ's sake, crazy or something? Well, you're not.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold it! See how easy it is?
We're from the State Mental Institution. This is Dr. Cheswick, Dr. Tabor, Dr. Scanlon. I'm Dr. McMurphy.
Hey, Mikey! What? All right, take him over! He's going over here! Get up, Paige! How about it, you creeps, you lunatics, mental defective?
Thank you, Mac. Thank you. I'll never forget you.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a 1975 American psychological comedy drama directed by, as I say, by Miloš Forman, based on the 1962 novel of the same name by Ken Kesey. Ken Kesey, of course, being the American novelist, essayist, and countercultural figure, known for his magic bus and his consumption of LSD. He considered himself a link between the Beat Generation of the 50s and hippies of the 60s. This film stars Jack Nicholson as a new patient at a mental institution and Louise Fletcher as the abusive head nurse. It received critical acclaim and is considered by critics and audiences to be one of the greatest films ever made. It's the second of 3 films to win all 5 major Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Director, and Screenplay. Following It Happened One Night in 1934 and preceding 1991's The Silence of the Lambs. Which is quite, I mean, fully deserved for Silence of the Lambs, but it's quite, it was a shock at the time. It's even more shocking now, I think, looking back and seeing a horror film win all of the awards. But anyway, It also swept the board at the BAFTAs with Best Film, Director, Actor, Actress, and adding Best Supporting Actor for BradDourif. It won these awards in an incredible year of films, with the other nominations for Best Picture at the Oscars being Barry Lyndon from Kubrick, Dog Day Afternoon, Jaws, and Nashville. I mean, what a year, because the other films who didn't even get nominated include Day of the Locust, Shampoo, Header, The Man Who Would Be King, and 3 Days of the Condor. So, for a Time Machine to 1975. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is set in 1963 Oregon, where Randall McMurphy is incarcerated for the statutory rape of a 15-year-old girl, which he claims he committed under the assumption she was 18. With 5 previous arrests for assault, he feigns mental illness so that he can be moved to a mental institution and avoid hard labour at a work farm. The medical ward is dominated by the cold, passive-aggressive nurse Ratchet, who intimidates her patients and maintains control through fear. The other patients include young, anxious, stuttering Billy Bibbit, Charlie Cheswick, who is prone to temper tantrums, delusional childlike Martini, the articulate and repressed Dale Harding, belligerent and profane Max Tabor, epileptics Jim Seffelt and Bruce Fredrickson, quiet but violent-minded Scanlon, tall, deaf, mute Native American Chief Bromden, and several others with chronic conditions. And as I say, Jack Nicholson played Randall Patrick R.P. McMurphy, Louise Fletcher played Nurse Mildred Ratched, Will Sampson plays Chief Bromden, William Redfield plays Dale Harding, BradDourif plays Billy Bibbit, Sidney Lassick is Charlie Cheswick, ChristopherLloyd is Max Tabor, and Danny DeVito is Martini. And this is actually the feature film debut for ChristopherLloyd and BradDourif. And I always forget that he's in it and then fail to recognise Danny DeVito amongst the cast. I don't know quite why. It just doesn't look like him. I'm not quite sure what it is, but he's absolutely brilliant in this. Interestingly, the film starts with no production logos or opening titles or anything. It just begins with a scene of the mountains where the film's set, and then you hear the crying of a bird, and then very slowly this really strange music fades in with sort of Native American rhythms and a saw being played. It's almost Lynchian, the soundtrack, I would say. And apparently Kirk Douglas was the first person who wanted to make the film. He acquired the rights in 1962 and made the Broadway stage production and wanted to make a film adaptation. And he wanted to play McMurphy. George Roy Hill was the first person attached to direct. That's George Roy Hill, of course, who directed Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting. Jack Nicholson, ironically, also tried to buy the rights, but was outbid by Douglas. But they couldn't find a studio to produce it. So initially, Douglas approached Miloš Forman to direct it, but after they'd met, Forman was unable to leave because of the Warsaw Pact invasion of Czechoslovakia. So he was basically trapped in his home country. So because of that and legal disputes, production was delayed until 1971, and then Kirk Douglas's son Michael Douglas convinced his father to let him produce the film. As he said, he was drawn to the novel's one man against the system plot due to his involvement in student activism in University of California. Ken Kesey, who wrote the book, was drafted in to do an early script development, but then he withdrew due to creative differences. And he wanted to tell the story from a single character's point of view, which was was Chief Bromden, but they didn't want to do that. And then when they redrafted it, it becomes a third person story. Hal Ashby was then brought in to direct, but then he was replaced by Miloš Forman again, who came back having fled to the United States. And then apparently Michael Douglas, who hired him, was unaware that Miloš Forman was the first choice to direct originally by his dad. Unfortunately, at this point, Michael and Kirk fall out because they decide they're not going to cast Kirk in the lead role. And apparently this did lead to slightly awkward family relations for quite a number of years. Although once the film was released and was a success, Kirk said how good Jack Nicholson was in the role, and everything was well again in the Douglas household. So as I say, once Kirk was considered too old for the role, it was offered to Gene Hackman, it was offered to James Caan, it was offered to Marlon Brando, and it was offered to Burt Reynolds, and all four of them turned it down. So they then approached Nicholson, but Michael Douglas said he wasn't too sure about Nicholson because he didn't think he'd ever played a role like this. Which I was thinking about this. I'm not sure that's true because I think the role's quite similar to a Nicholson's role in Five Easy Pieces. That sort of anti-establishment, man against the world, sort of rebellious, slightly crazy character. And Nicholson did extensive research for the role, which included meeting patients and actually witnessing electroconvulsive shock therapy to prepare for it, which must have been pretty awful. Danny DeVito was the first to be cast, because he was reprising his role of Martini from the stage production. Chief Bromden was an impossible character to cast, apparently, because they wanted this huge guy, and he is ginormous. And he was eventually the guy they cast was recommended by the gentleman who plays the boat hire captain in a scene in the middle of the film, who met Chief Bromden because he was what they call like a national park sheriff, and it was so he wasn't an actor at all. So for Nurse Ratched, they considered Janine Monroe, Angela Lansbury, who I think would have been great, Colleen Dewhurst, Geraldine Page, Aileen Burstyn, Anne Bancroft, and Jane Fonda. But actually they cast Lily Tomlin. But Forman then became interested in casting Louise Fletcher, who was originally put in a supporting role. And then, over time, they sort of auditioned her again and again and decided to go with her. And Tomlin then left to replace Fletcher, who had been in Nashville. So they sort of swapped roles, interestingly. And I kind of think it's a blessing for the film because Tomlin's good, but I think Fletcher is incredible. And I think she's amazing in this, and she's amazing in one of my favourite films, Brainstorm, where she's just spectacular in that. And I think she would have won another Oscar for that if the film hadn't been a complete sort of production disaster and then a huge flop at the box office. They apparently considered Shelley Duvall for the role of Candy, and coincidentally, she and Nicholson and Scatman Carruthers, who's also in this film, would then go on to reunite 5 years later in The Shining with Stanley Kubrick. And Michael Douglas was going to cast himself as Billy, but once he saw BradDourif's audition, he just said, "Yeah, that's the guy." They actually shot it in a real state hospital, a mental institution, and it's actually the one it's set in the book. And the hospital's director, Dean Brooks, was really supportive of the production, so he's actually cast as the Doctor in the film. And I was really surprised by that because he's really good. I wouldn't have guessed he wasn't an actor. And he's an interesting character because he's sort of this sort of disinterested Doctor who clearly Nicholson's character takes to be a bit of a mug and thinks he can play. And then he's sort of this distant character who just stays in his office and lets Nurse Ratched run the place completely, which is to the detriment of the patients, really. And he allowed the cast to sort of shadow patients at the hospital. Some of them stayed overnight, and some of the patients were actually cast as extras in the film. And Michael Douglas said that it wasn't until they'd actually finished shooting that he found out that a lot of them were actually diagnosed as criminally insane, and perhaps wouldn't. Well, I mean, certainly these days they'd never get insurance to let that happen at all. Forman used some unusual techniques. He shot the group therapy scenes with multiple cameras, which at the time was quite unusual. But of course, he wanted to capture their live reactions. But also, he had this technique of not letting the actors see any of the rushes. And apparently, the cast lost confidence, and Nicholson had to beg him to let him see some of the dailies, and allowed him to sort of have confidence in his acting for the film. So it was the second highest grossing film in 1975. and one of the 7 highest grossing films of all time at that time. Critics praised it, unsurprisingly. Mr. Roger Ebert said One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a film so good in so many of its parts that there's a temptation to forgive it when it goes wrong. But when it does go wrong, insisting on making larger points than its story really should carry. So at the end, the human qualities of the characters get lost in the significance of it all. And yet, there are those moments of brilliance. And, I kind of agree, because the end is incredibly sad, but I also don't think, I'm not entirely convinced it works. It's like, but there is a sort of a redemption to the sadness as well. So it's sort of a sad, bittersweet ending, and the film sort of works you quite well, because you're constantly sort of nervous for the characters, fearful for the characters, but then you have these moments of great levity and joy, and then there's another moment of sort of fearful trepidation. It does work really well. You can tell it's been a stage play because because of it's another ensemble movie. They all work so well together, but it's paced and structured so well. It's got opening and closing music by the odd music I mentioned by Jack Nietzsche, and it's got a 93% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Japanese filmmaker Akira Kurosawa cited Cuckoo's Nest as one of his 100 favorite films, and What Culture ranked Louise Fletcher ranked her role as second in the top 10 most convincing movie psychopath performances. Now, I've got a slight bone to pick with that, because when I first watched this film as a teenager, I was totally on Jack's side. I thought, he's a rebellious, funny, clever, cool guy. And all the research I've done about this film depicts her as this sort of vindictive, terrible, evil character. But watching it as an older, I kind of sympathize with her, because she is in many ways trying to do what she thinks is right, and he is so incapable of taking any authority at all, that even the first moment of their clashing heads, where he goes into the nurse's station to turn the music down, and they tell him to leave, and then he tries to explain to her, he just loses his rag immediately, and he just cannot communicate with her at all. And I kind of feel like, is she that evil? What is her motivation? Because there's a key scene in the middle where they debate him staying in the institution, because they all basically, throughout the film, all the doctors are debating, is he actually crazy? Is he faking? And they seem to conclude that he's not crazy, but is he dangerous? And they leave the decision to her, and she decides that he should stay. And you're kind of thinking, why is she doing that? Is she doing that to torture him? Is she doing it because she genuinely believes he's dangerous? Is she doing it because she wants to sort of reinforce her authority over him and everyone else, and therefore the hospital? It's really interesting. I don't know. But as I say, my sympathy shifted, so it was more even. But she does do some terrible things. She is quite cruel at times. I think it's obvious that Nicholson's character isn't crazy, but I wonder now whether he would be possibly considered for mental health treatment, because he is so incapable of dealing with authority figures that he acts awfully. But anyway, that's just me just rambling and theorizing. And of course, I have no medical qualifications or expertise at all. So
have you read the book?
I haven't, no.
Oh, no, not me. I was just wondering whether the character is the same in the book and in the movie, because sometimes they do sort of like allow themselves some, I don't know, like some dramatic, more, they'll make a character more extreme than he might be in the movie, in the book, just for drama, really. But
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting point. I'll have to read it actually. Yeah, it's really good. And then, yeah, just going back to that, of course, I one of the scenes where you do start to question who's right and what their motivations are is that there's an early scene where he's told to take medication and he asks what it is and they won't tell him. And you kind of think, can that be right? Can you make someone take medication without telling them what it is? And so, they're clearly...
If they're on a psychiatric hold, yes. You're not to ask any questions. Because, you've been put there by a court. So,
I would certainly agree that they can't refuse to take it, but it really made me question the ethics of the medical staff, that they wouldn't even engage and discuss it with them. And then, of course, you get into bigger discussions about, what is madness? If someone commits a terrible crime, you could say they're mad, because why else would they commit this terrible crime? But if everyone who commits a crime is mad, then no one's getting convicted for crimes, and everyone's getting put into mental institutions instead. I was intrigued to see, when I did my research, that it's called a psychological comedy drama, or a medical drama. I just thought it was a drama. It just struck me as a human drama. It tells broader stories of compliance and compromise and fitting into society. How you have to sort of submit to authority to stop society falling apart. There are rules all of us don't like in society, but whichever, you can't pick and choose. You have to sort of comply, but of course one shouldn't conform or go unquestioningly, because that way dictatorships and fascism lies. So yeah, really interesting sort of broader topics underneath. And if you're wondering, the title One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest refers to the mental institution which is the cuckoo's nest, and the one person who successfully rebels against its oppressive system, symbolizing freedom and individuality. Apparently the phrase originates from a children's nursery rhyme and is used in the novel to represent characters who refuse to conform to the institution's rules. So that's the end of this group therapy session. Back to bed, everyone. And there's chicken for tea. And just to say, the film has just this week been released for the first time ever, remastered in 4K Ultra HD, and is available to stream and buy. So you can actually find one of my classic movies to watch. So I highly recommend it. It's one of the best films ever made.
Fabulous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just, I really must watch it again, because I haven't seen it in many, many years. Yeah. Really, I think it's one of those where we should watch it and probably do like a proper a deep dive into one day.
That's a good idea. Yeah, we'll add that to our specials list. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, as I say, the first time I watched it, the end absolutely devastated me, because it was, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but it was quite unexpected.
So if you haven't seen it by now, come on.
This is true, yes.
How long? 50 years or something?
I haven't had enough time to get around to it. Right, well, so that's it, folks. Time to get back to bed and take your meds. Slip into a peaceful coma until I wake you again in 7 days for another episode where we meet in the foyer. But for now, thank you very much, Linda, for another excellent show and more wonderful reviews. Thank you for listening or watching, whichever one it is you do, and we'll see you again soon. And if you do subscribe, you may find a little special episode popping up in the near future. So
very, very near future.
Head on over. Thank you very much, everyone, and ta-ta for now. See you soon. Take care.
Adios. Bye.
Meet me in the foyer.